Hi, Lana. All right, so I'm going to do part C for you. Hopefully this will make sense. So we have three inequalities that we're dealing with in part C. So here's C. So I'm going to do that first one. I'm sorry that you can't really see what I'm writing. So we have 3x plus 5y is greater than or equal to 21. And this is different from all the rest. So I kind of circle that one to make sure that I'm paying attention to it. And then the first thing that I wanted to do is I wanted to get my two intercepts if I treat this as an equation. So my first intercept, I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to make x equal to 0. So I'd have that 3 times 0 plus 5y. And then I'm just going to set it equal to 21. Because again, I'm actually going to just graph the equations. And then I'll deal with the fact that it's an inequality. And when I do this, when I make x equal to 0, and I solve for y, I get that 5y is equal to 21. This is basically gone. Sorry, I've been horseback riding. My fingers might be dirty. And so I just have to divide both sides, and I get that y is equal to 21 divided by 5. And when I use my calculator, because I don't want to do that math, I get that y is equal to 4.2, that this is equal to 4.2. And so then my first point that I can graph is going to be 0, 4.2. Now I need to go ahead and I'm going to make y equal to 0. So now I'm going to have 3x plus 5 times 0. So again, what I'm doing is I want to get my x and y intercepts, so that's why I'm plugging in 0 for x once and I'm plugging in 0 for y once. And that's going to be then again equal to 21. And when I do this one, 5 times 0 is 0, so I just have that 3x is equal to 21, or x is equal to 7. And that gives me my other intercept. So I get 7, 0. So now I have my two intercepts, 0, 4.2, and 7, 0. So I'm going to go ahead and just slide this up a little bit. Now this one is interesting to graph. Okay, so again, we know that everything's going to be in quadrant 1 because x is greater than 0 and y is greater than 0. And then I also know that I need some room. So I'm just going to say that 5 is there and 10 is there. And 5 is there and 10 is there. So if I want to graph this, I'm going to say 0, 4.2. So I'm at 0, 4.2. And again, I'm not worried about perfection because I'm going to label everything. And then the other one is going to be 7, 0. So I'm going to say 7 is like right around here. And that's going to be 7, 0. And then I'm going to freehand it. And now remember, I need to figure out though, since this is an inequality, that's my inequality, which side of this line is included in this inequality. And the way that I do that is I use a test point. And I've been using 0, 0 as my test point for all of these. If I go back up to this original inequality and I make x 0 and y 0, I end up with 3 times 0 is 0, 5 times 0 is 0. So these are just 0 this side. Is 0 greater than or equal to 21? Nuh-uh. And let me just really quick show you what I did because I don't want this to be confusing in any way. I was trying to save space, but that's not good when you're teaching. So again, my test point is 0, 0. And when I do that, I get 0 plus 0 is greater than or equal to 21. That's false. 0 is not greater than or equal to 21. So now what I know is that this point is not part of the answer and that my answer is going to go this way. That's where my space is that I'm interested in. So that's why I'm shading that side of that. I'm definitely going to have to use multiple pieces of paper. I've accepted that now. So now we're going to go ahead and we're going to deal with the next equation. So the next equation for C was 4x plus 3y is less than or equal to 28. So now we're back to the less than or equal to, which is what we're used to, which pretty much guarantees us that probably 0, 0 is going to be included for all the rest of them. All right, so now what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to again find my x and y intercepts so I can graph the line. So I'm going to pretend that this is equal to, I'm going to go ahead and make x equal to 0. So I'm going to do 4 times 0 plus 3y. So I'm plugging in 0 for x to get that intercept is equal to 28. And when I do that, I get that I'm going to divide then both sides by 3 because this cancels out. I just have 3y is equal to 28. So y is equal to 28 divided by 3, which my calculator tells me is 9 1/3. So we have 9 1/3. So that's going to be one of my points, one of my intercepts. So it's going to be 0, 9 1/3. So then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to work with finding the other intercept. So I'm going to take this original equation again, and now I'm going to make y equal to 0. So I'm going to have 4x plus 3 times 0 is less than or equal to 28. Now this just becomes 0, and then what I can do is I can say 4x is less than or equal to, sorry, is equal to 28. Sorry, it's my family. So now I have 28 divided by 4. So x is going to be equal to 28 divided by 4, which is just equal to 7. So my other point is going to be 0, 7. I'm going to pause this for a second. So the 2 points I'm going to graph this time are 0, 9 1/3, and 0, 7. And that'll give me my line that I can then turn into my inequality. So I'm going to bring this back up. So we have 0, 9 1/3. So that's going to be like right around here. It's way up there because remember this was 5 and that was 10. So I'm going to have 0, 9 1/3. And then I'm going to have 0, 7 was the other one, which happens to be right here. I'm going to go ahead and make my straight-ish line. There you have it. And you can see that these don't cross anywhere, which is interesting. And now we have to use our test point to see which side of this line is part of that inequality. So remember, we're going to test out 0, 0. So I'm going to go and bring this equation back down for us. 4x plus 3y is less than or equal to 28. And I'm going to test that point 0, 0. So 0, 0 is 0 less than or equal to 28. It is. So now I'm going to go ahead and draw my lines on this side. And I really don't have to go past that other line. So far we know that this is a boundary of our area, and this is another boundary of our area, and this is a boundary of our area. So we know that the answer has to fall somewhere in that triangle that we have so far. But this one had a third equation attached to it. So let's go ahead and let's look at that third equation that was attached to it. Grab us a clean piece of paper. So if I grab that clean piece of paper, so the third one that we had to look at is 2x plus 2y is less than or equal to 17. Sorry, you're going to hear my family's weekly phone call to Nana. Okay, so the first thing again I want to do is I want to find my x and y intercepts. So I'm going to first start by making x 0. Oop, and then again, I just make this equal sign. So this is gone because that's just 0. So 2y is equal to 17. So y is going to just be equal to 17 divided by 2. Because remember, it's like, I always think of it as like peeling an onion, you peel off the sides. And that's just equal to 8.5. So this first point is going to be x is 0 and y is 8.5. And now I'm going to do the same thing, and it's actually just going to be flipped, but we'll go ahead and work through it. So I'm going to say 2x plus, now I'm going to make y equal to 0 is equal to 17. And now I'm going to get the same sort of thing, where I'm going to say that 2x is equal to 17. So x is equal to 17 divided by 2, or 8.5. So now the new point is going to be 8.5, 0. They're telling Nana about the haunted house we went to this weekend. It was really good. Okay, So those are the 2 points that we now have to add to our graph. So we're going to first add 0, 8.5. So 0, 8.5. So this is 5, and that's 9 1/3. So I'm going to say 8.5 is like right about there. And then we're going to add 8.5, comma 0. So if this is 10 and this is 7, I'm going to say 8.5 is like, I don't know, there. And again, as long as you label it, it doesn't matter. Well, I mean, as long as you're reasonable, I guess. It doesn't matter. It's all math. And then I'm going to try and connect these. Okay, so now that I have these taken care of, what I'm looking, now I need to test out that 0, 0 again with the original equation. So the original equation was 2x plus 2y is less than or equal to 17. So 0, 0 is less than or equal to 17. 0 is less than or equal to 17. Yep, all I did was I plugged in 0 for x and y. I know when I multiply, they turn into 0. And I can go ahead and do this. Okay, so I know that this side of this blue line is the side that works. And again, I'm going to stop when I hit that bottom boundary, even though these lines really should go all the way down. I just feel like it's better if I don't do that. And now we can figure out what all of our boundaries are. So this point is the interesting point that we still have to figure out right there. So this is our answer area, and we want to figure out what is the maximum point. So the 4 points that we would test out are 0, 4.2. Oh, I'm going to pause and see who's calling us on the house. Sorry about that. I didn't know why the house phone was ringing when they were on the phone call. So anyway, so I'm going to test out 1, 2, 3, 4 points. Those are the 4 points that I would be curious about. But the thing is that we have to figure out what is this point. So this point is where our pink equation and our blue equation cross. The purple line was way down here, I think. Yeah, because it's going up. So this was the purple one. So I'm interested in the pink line and the blue line. The pink line and the blue line and where they cross for that point. So that's probably my most curious point. So I'm going to go ahead and I am going to write down the equation for the blue line, which I have right there. And it was 2x plus 2y is less than or equal to 17. And then I had that pink equation that we're interested in. Oh, and we can just make it equal to. I'm so sorry I keep forgetting to tell you that. I just do it in my head. Because we're just looking for where those two lines cross. And then we have 4x plus 3y is less than or equal to 28. And those are the two that we now want to work with and figure out where do they cross? What is the place that they meet? So again, what I want to do is I want to either eliminate my x variable or my y variable because I can't solve when I have two variables. I need to only have one variable. So the one that I want to eliminate is the x because that's going to be easier for me. If I go ahead and I multiply this whole equation by 2, I'm going to end up with 4x, and that'll be easier. If I want to eliminate my y, I would have to multiply this one by 3 and this one by 2, and that's a lot more work, so I don't want to do that. So I'm going to multiply this whole thing times 2. So 2 times 2x is equal to 4x. 2 times 2y is equal to 4y. And then 2 times 17 is 35. No, 34. 34 is 34. So all I did was I just multiplied this whole equation by that. And since, here, over here, I'm just going to copy. Oh, I should have kept it pink. Sorry. I'm just going to copy over the other equation. So I'm just moving it over. I didn't do anything with it. Okay, so now, remember how I said to you, I like to try and keep things as positive as possible? Since this is smaller than that, I'm going to make all these negative. All I'm doing is I'm multiplying this by negative 1. You're allowed to just make them all negative as long as you do the same thing on the left and the right, you're fine. I'm explaining how I did it, but you can just switch either one of them and just make them negative. Just have to do it. And if something's negative, it would flip to positive. So now these cancel out because I have positive 4x and negative 4x, so 0 x's. I have 4y minus 3y, so I just have 1y left. And then I just have to figure out what's the difference between these two, 34 minus 28, and I just get 6. So I know that the y value of that point that we're looking for where these two equations cross, I know that the y value is equal to 6. So I'm going to go ahead and use this original equation, 2x plus 2y equals 17, to find the x value by plugging in 6 for y. So I have 2x plus 2 times 6, that's where I got that from, is 17. So 2x plus 12 is equal to 17. So 2x, so I'm going to subtract 12 from both sides, is equal to 5. And then I get that x is equal to 5 divided by 2, which is just equal to 2.5. So that's not too bad. So what I get is that that point is at 2.5. Now, if any of my math is wrong, I'm doing most of it in my head. I've told you when I used a calculator. You can go ahead and tell me I did it wrong. So here we get that the crossing point for these two equations is here, 2.5 comma 6. So I know that this point right here is at oop, you can't see me. There we go. 2.5 comma 6. Again, if I did any math wrong, let me know. But you know, honestly, that looks about right. This looks like it's about halfway between 0 and 5. And this looks like it's greater than 5, because here's where my 5 is. But it's not, you know, it's less than all those. That looks like a reasonable answer. Okay, so now we have our 4 points to test. Our 4 points to test. Let me grab a clean piece of paper to see which one gives us our maximum. Are 0, not this one, right here. It's everything inside of this shape right here. So it's going to be 0, comma 8.5 is one point I want to test. Another, oh, I should turn this sideways. Whatever, it doesn't matter. So 0, comma 8.5. Then I want to do 2.5, comma 6. And then I'm going to do 0, comma 4.2. We don't have that 0, 0, which makes it not as nice. 0, comma 4.2. And now the last one's going to be 7, comma 0. I suspect it's going to be one of these two, but we'll do all of them just to be sure. And then what we do is we take that original equation, that z equals 11x plus 14y. And that's where we're going to, all of them. If I go off the screen, don't worry, I'm not going to do anything important right now. I'm just jotting down the equation for us to work with. All right, so here we go. Let's plug it in and see what we get. So z is equal to 11 times 0 plus 14 times 8.5. I'm just checking this point out by plugging it into the equation. And did I do this one before maybe? I did this one. So this one I actually used a calculator already, and I know that the answer is z is equal to 119. So now let's go ahead and try this one. This is the one I suspect might be the winner. Z is equal to 11, and I'm going to pause this probably and use my calculator really quickly to solve this. So I'm going to pause it. So I'm kind of excited. I did the second one, which was the 2.5 comma 6, and it was actually smaller. So I was really excited about that I was wrong at my guess and that the other one was larger. So I'm going to go ahead and do the other ones really quickly, and then I will be right back. Okay, so back to the problem. So you were with me for this one, where I plugged in this point into the equation, and that was the number we got. Did the same thing here, plugged in 2.5 and 6 into this equation, and I got 111.5. Did the same thing with this point, got 58.8, and then I did the same thing for that point, and I got 77. So 0, comma 8.5 is going to be our winner, and that was this point right here, 0, comma 8.5. So that one won with 119 being our maximum. All right, I hope that's helpful. I'll see you tomorrow at work. Bye.